Hi guys, back with the 2021 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road, and today I'm going to be doing the transfer case fluid swap. For this, I'm going to need a drain pan. It's not a lot of fluid, it's about a little over a quart, 1 liter, so you won't need a big drain pan. Lots of rags, of course. Breaker bar you might possibly need, but I would imagine a ratchet's probably going to be strong enough. 24 millimeter socket, that's the size that's underneath there on the original plugs, and these are the plugs that I'm going to be replacing them with. These ones, I don't believe the ones that are in there have a magnet, and if they do, it's likely not as strong as these. These I used in the rear differential, and the magnets that were in there were not nearly as strong as these are. Those are also at 24 millimeter. So, and on these, they have a crush washer. If you're not getting a new drain plug, make sure you get some crush washers at least. The crush washers are a one-time use item. There's a couple different kinds here. This one's obviously the copper run. We got an aluminum one over here, and then a steel one over here. And the way you can tell is the steel one sticks and the aluminum one doesn't. Copper doesn't either, but that's besides the point. For the fluid, you're gonna need, it's a, oh gosh, I think it's a 75W fluid. This one here is by Driveline. It says it's a 70W, 75W, but it needs to be the GL4. The only two companies that I could find other than the manufacturer that makes it was Driveline, this MTLV, and then there's a company called Ravenol. And the Ravenol, they do sell a liter bottle. The Driveline unfortunately only sells a quart bottle. So it's a liter, not a quart, which means that it's, I believe they say it's 1.05 quarts, which you might think, oh, you know, I can get away with just 1 quart. And maybe you can, but it's not a lot of fluid in there, so every little bit counts. I wouldn't go less than 1.05 quarts. So that's why I have two. I was going to use this spout thing. I thought that would be a good idea, but it does not fit because these are really small, so I'm going to end up running and getting a fluid pump for those. But I'm going to go ahead and get it started draining first before I do that. And then, of course, torque wrenches. Make sure you have torque wrenches. I'll have to get back to you on the torque specs. I'll give them to you further in the video. But definitely make sure you have a torque wrench and use it. I know a lot of people try to say that you don't need torque wrenches, but you should. There's no reason not to, and it's the way, that's what it's designed for, and every torque specification is specifically for each bolt. So, you know, yeah, you might be able to just crank on it by feel, but you might strip something out, you might weaken something. It's just not, you know, it's not that hard to get a torque wrench and torque it down. A big thing people don't use torque wrenches on is lug nuts. With your lug nuts, you can damage your rotors by over torquing them. And yet most every shop you go to, they put them back on and they just crank them on with an impact instead of grabbing a torque wrench. And you know, like even on the truck here, it's only 83 foot-pounds. With an impact, that doesn't take very much. So I definitely insist on the torque wrench myself. And then the other things, something to lay on because I'm in the dirt here. And then these pads are really nice. It's a absorbent cloth material that's rubberized on the back side, and they're pretty cheap. They work real well. The only problem is, like, in, you know, working with the differentials, I got gear oil on it, and man, does it stink. I can't put this in my car for sure. So I need to wash it, but apparently they are washable, so I should be able to get that out. But definitely try to get something underneath there whenever you're draining fluids, so that if something does splash out of the pan, it's getting onto that cloth instead of, you know, on your driveway or in the dirt, you know. Okay guys, so I went ahead and I cracked the fill plug loose. You want to do that first. Definitely always when you're draining something, make sure you can get the fill plug out first, because if you take out the drain plug and the fill plug won't come out, you have no way to put fluid back in. So then you're in a bind. So always check that. On the draining, I always open the fill plug and then tighten it back hand tight before I open the drain plug. That way when I open the drain plug, the fluid comes out a little slower because the air has to go in past it. Whereas if you take the fill plug out first, it just comes flying out at you in the beginning. So you get a little less fluid on you that way. And in this case, there's like a little skid plate thing that goes underneath it. If you don't put something like this paper towel in here, then it's gonna end up leaking the fluid on top of it. So that's why that's stuffed in there. So I'll let you see here when you pull this out. Well, you can hear it's definitely a sealed unit because you can hear the air sucking in. It will come out a little slower. Ooh, and that wasn't very slow. Oh boy. And then you take the fill plug out, and it just comes right out. In this case, I probably should have just taken the fill plug out because that was really a mess. I think I got splattered here. I'll be right back. Okay guys, so the fluid is all drained. When I took the drain and fill plugs out, I did use the torque wrench, but I could have used a ratchet. The torque on them is 27 foot-pounds, so it really doesn't take a lot to break them free. On the drain plugs, the drain and fill plugs that were in there are the same size as the replacements I got. They just don't have a magnet in them. But they do have the crush washer. This one's the aluminum crush washer. And this is a steel drain plug. So, you know, it apparently doesn't corrode in there, having two different metals. So it doesn't really matter the copper, aluminum, or the steel. The fluid, it's not really that bad, considering it's been over 50,000 miles. I think I'm about 52 to 53,000, and you know, you can still see through it. It's definitely pretty dark, but yeah, it's not as bad as I expected. The differential fluids were way worse. Front differential made this look like water, but I do need to get a pump for the fluid, so I'm gonna go ahead and run and grab that real quick, and put the drain plug back in. Maybe put the fill plug just up in there so no dirt gets in there. But on the fluid, the reason I did go with the Redline as opposed to, say, the factory fluid, is that the factory fluid is $100 for a liter. And you might think I'm exaggerating, but on Amazon I just looked it up. It's $98 and some change for 1 liter of fluid. So this was $22. And the Ravenall, I don't think is much more than that, but it's a liter versus the quart. But you know, you can get either one. Okay guys, so you saw how quickly that fluid came out. I did drive this beforehand to make sure that I got out as much fluid as I could. To warm up the transfer case, you're going to want to drive for about 10 or 15 minutes. It really doesn't matter whether you're in 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. It'll heat up either way. But I went ahead and drove a little bit in 2-wheel and a little in 4-wheel, and shifted several times between 2-wheel and 4-wheel, just to, I don't know, maybe get a little bit better flush. But if you do, be ready, because that fluid's going to come out fast. It looks like it splashed up there, and splashed me, splashed my phone, and yeah, it's some gross stuff. It does not smell as bad as the gear oil for the differentials, but it's not pleasant. So hopefully you stay a little cleaner. Maybe put a rag up between you and it before you open it, or even an idea is that you could put a Ziploc baggie around, tape it to it so that it kind of directs the flow down. I don't know, maybe so that it flows inside, cut the corner off so that it aims it down rather than all over the place. I don't know. Next time I'll try that. But yeah, hopefully you don't make a mess. It's pretty gross. One more thing before I run and get that pump. On the drain plug there, when you're putting that in with that crush washer, particularly these steel ones, it's gonna feel like it's gonna strip out or something, because it takes a while for that crush washer to go, but it's just fine. Just keep torquing on it, 27 foot-pounds, and you'll be good. And the fill plug, make sure you have the fluid in before you torque that one down, or you're gonna need another crush washer. I did not do that this time, but it would not be my first time. So, okay, so just for comparison, I filled up the old drain plugs with the fluid. The left is the new fluid, the right is the old fluid. So you can see there's a difference between them. Not a drastic difference, but if you're doing severe duty, this should be done every 30,000 miles, and that's at 52 plus. So it would seem like it's a little bit overkill to do it that often, but the front differential is definitely not overkill. That one should be done at 30,000 for sure. But yeah, I'll be back. Okay guys, I'm back from the store, and I got myself a pump. It's a fluid pump. It comes with two little straws. There's a shorter one too, but I'm gonna need the longer one because the bottle's real tall. And it doesn't thread to this size bottle because the top's so narrow, but I'll just set it in there and pump it. It should be fine. So basically I'm just gonna feed the tube up into the top, and I'm gonna keep the tube to where the bottom of the hole is not obstructed, because I want to fill it up just to the point where it starts overflowing out that hole. And once it does, a solid trickle, then I'll stop there. A drip or two is not enough to stop. That can happen just from it running down the sides of the case there. So once you get a solid trickle coming out the end, then stop and let it drain, and then put your fill plug back in. And then 27 foot-pounds on both of those if you missed that. And then the other thing I got was some brake parts cleaner. I forgot that earlier. Once you get done, clean off around the drain plugs so that if you do have any leaking, it's obvious and you don't confuse something that was already there, or you don't confuse a new leak as something that was already there. Sorry. And I think I'm ready to go. So let me go ahead and pump into here. The one thing I would say is, if you're using a pump like this, you're definitely going to need the 2 quarts or more than a liter, because some of it's going to be stuck inside the pump. So it's definitely going to take more than the 1.05 quarts, because, well, I got to waste some. Maybe I could pump it back into the bottle, save it for next time, but yeah, definitely going to need more than the 1. Okay, so this is perfect. If you can see there, I've got a space underneath the hose so that once it's full, there's nothing blocking the fluid from flowing back out. If you have the tube at the bottom of the hole, then it's going to have to fill up higher before it overflows. So, just a tip. Okay guys, so this is what we want. Just for the fluid to flow out like that, a trickle. I went a little over because the hose was in the way there when I was trying to show you, but yeah, so now, since I went over, I'm just going to let it drain down till it's even, and then call it good. These pumps are kind of lame. The straw that's on the end fell inside the first bottle, so I had to use the littler straw, go down part way on the bottle, and then switch over to the other one. So I got two. There it goes. So just about done. We got that trickle in there. Oh, no, it's not done. Yeah, so as soon as that stops trickling, just let it drain out till it's even, and then torque in your fill plug and go do a test drive. So I hope this went good, guys. Okay, guys, all nice and pristine. One thing I want to say is when you're torquing these, you are crushing that washer while you torque it, so it's gonna feel like it's getting tight for a long time. Just keep going, 27 foot-pounds, and do it slowly so that you don't end up over torquing it. For the brake fluid, when you clean that off there, wear some eye protection so you don't end up getting sprayed with it. And for rags throughout, paper rags are a good idea because gear oil stinks. This one's not nearly as bad as the stuff that goes in the differentials, but it still stinks. And so getting something like this on a cloth rag that's brand new, I'm not going to use that rag. So would have been much better if it was on one of these, but just a tip. So I hope you guys had a good little change here, and since I'm under here, I think I'm going to go ahead and make a video on torquing the drive shafts. So stay tuned. Okay, guys, so one last thing that I wanted to say. I know it might be tempting to go ahead and just grab some GL5 gear oil and throw that in there, but the GL4 is really important. The reason is that there's soft metals inside the transfer case, and that can be damaged by the stuff inside the GL5 fluid. Sorry, the neighbor's dogs have discovered me. Yeah, make sure it's GL4, not GL5, because it will damage the components inside there. So, good luck, guys. Okay, guys, so just a little follow-up. I just took a test drive, and then I took another one because it was just a lot of fun. I'm sorry, Toyota, but the transfer case has never engaged as well as it does now. Even when it was new, it goes in so smoothly, it comes out so smoothly. The procedure on this, if you're not aware, is you can do it on the fly as long as you're going under 62 miles an hour. Just pop it into four-wheel drive. If it has any trouble going in, just vary the pressure on the gas pedal, and that'll help it pop in. And then when you go back out, same thing, just pop it back to two-wheel drive. Just make sure it engages between switching back, but yeah, it's beautiful. I love doing this stuff to the truck because every time it feels a little better. And this, when it's even better than it was originally, that's pretty cool. So Redline for the win.